I'm going to do any task that is long and or arduous, I'm definitely going to need a reward at the end. 1 load of washing equals 3 hours of Netflix. Those are the rules. But as we've previously discussed on the channel, there are plenty of rubbish quest rewards to be found in our beloved video games for quests that are long and arduous or just really effing hard. And plenty more suggestions were left in the comments by you wonderful people. So sit back and stew as we present you with yet more terrible rewards for incredibly hard quests, harder even than doing 2 loads of laundry and then watching 6 hours of Love is Blind. Beware spoilers and annoyances for the following games.
Okay, so I hate to admit it, but Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning is not a perfect game.
I've said that many times.
Hey, I can admit it, not you. One such imperfection is found in a quest you can start in the early hours of the game, as noted by commenter YourDeath1994. Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, Long Overdue, is a quest where you have to find 10 books from all over the world. The last one is literally on the endgamiest island there is. You need to steal, sneak, and clear dungeons to find them, and the reward is 516 gold. And believe me, this is even less than it sounds. In Goreheart, the first town in the game, players who have made the correct decision to play Kingdoms of Amalur can find a collection of buildings known as St. Odwig's Mission. Should you nose around the reliquary, you can stumble into Till's book collection. This will kick off a quest to collect the lost books of Brother Till, the late scripture master, with a note that this collection is lewd and lascivious. Maybe when Brother Till joined, he thought they meant the other kind of missionary. Still, off you trot to find these raunchy reads, like this is Amalur's version of looking for adult magazines in a hedge. But as YourDeath1994 said, these tomes are spread all over Amalur, tucked away in many hard-to-reach bookcases, requiring you to complete the vast majority of the main story quest before you can even enter all of the areas they are in. For all of your hard work, you'd expect a good reward, except when you head back to Goreheart, you instead get 276 gold! Why did I get this piddling amount of gold for a quest that spans an entire game? No, it wasn't thanks to library late fees. Problem is, the reward is tied to what level you were when you took on the quest, not when you finished, which is quite frankly bullshit. So, many guides out there suggest not starting Long Overdue until you reach the last third of the game when you're a much higher level. Then your reward is actually, you know, a reward, rather than chump change that's way less than you can get by mowing through the local fauna. Still, I suppose the true reward is making sure the collection is not left without a tattered copy of a surprisingly earnest piece of erotic fiction, The Thigh Diaries.
Okay, now can I say it's not perfect?
Okay.
If I'm going to kill a spider, I need gloves, safety goggles, an extra long-range blowtorch, and someone else to do it for me. If I were Link though, the bravest and spider-killingest boy in all of Hyrule, I would be scouring every crack and crevice in the land for the truly creepy gold sculpture. The gold sculpture is a kind of huge golden spider with a big skull on it, and, even worse, stripy legs. Who do you think you are? Elf on the shelf? That's disgusting. While Link goes about his hero business exploring dungeons and defeating Ganondorf, he is also on a mission, as suggested by commenter RobStewart8474, to hunt down and exterminate 100 gold Skulltulas, receiving a gold Skulltula token with every kill. The mission comes from a rich man in Kakariko Village who has been transformed by a curse into a spider with a partial human face and one arm, like he's in some sort of David Cronenberg Spider-Man movie. Oh no, I don't love that. To break the curse, you must track down and destroy 100 of the nightmare creatures, which are spread far and wide across the game, and then take the tokens back to Kakariko Village. Returning to the Spider-Man house, you'll find the curse on the rich man and his family has been lifted, and the grateful fellow will reward you with, oh, 1 big rupee. I thought you were rich. Man, that big rupee is worth 200 regular rupees, which isn't nothing, but also by the time you've reached this point in the game, a bunch of rupees is far from the kind of dazzling, game-changing prize that you'd hope for, what with how much spider murder you've done over the course of several hours. 200 rupees won't even stretch to a medium-range blowtorch.
If you think the Zelda series is content with just one useless reward, you'd be incorrect. One prime example of a terrible reward can be found in Breath of the Wild, as pointed out by many commenters like Tommy McAnany 8327, who wrote, "The worst one I've ever seen is finding all 900 Korok seeds in Breath of the Wild. Only about the first 450 are worth expanding your inventory. After that, it's only for completion. Scavenging every nook and cranny in the huge map for endless hours just to be rewarded with an absolutely useless golden turd. The developers knew what they were doing with that one." Yeah, you heard and read that right. 900 Korok seeds. That's 9 times the number of spiders you had to murder. And you don't just pick these up like some regular old collectibles. You have to traipse across Hyrule finding secret puzzles, solve those puzzles, and then be given a seed by the chirpiest mother to exist in a world on the brink of extinction via the medium of Ganon Dragon. Well, I'm glad at least one of us is happy. While the first half you collect do indeed help you upgrade Link's abilities, the rest just lead up to the end, present, a golden poop. The worst part is that the game's director is publicly laughing at you, revealing in an interview with IGN that it's just the backstory. The kind of hidden thing in the game the whole way is that the Korok seeds are actually Korok poop. Okay, what's the button to wash Link's hands? You know this game has cooking in it, right? The joke didn't end there, with Korok seed collecting making a return in Tears of the Kingdom, only this time with additional puzzles where you have to lug Koroks in their huge bags across the map with you, and the number of poops to collect is up to a nice round 1,000. And your reward? Another Korok poop. Oh well, at least you can strap rockets to the little jerks in this game.
I don't want to accuse Activision of false advertising, not least because they have very expensive lawyers, but I regret to inform you that in Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, shadows die a lot more than twice. I haven't been this angry since I discovered buffaloes don't have wings. Most of your deaths in Sekiro will come courtesy of the boss characters, an increasingly nightmarish parade of mystical samurai and mythological creatures that seem dead set on turning you, the one-armed wolf, into the no-armed, no-legged, and no-headed wolf. At least in the main game, if you're stuck on, say, a horrifying decapitated monkey, you can usually go somewhere else in the game's massive open world and maybe get killed by something that's less likely to give you nightmares for the next 3 weeks. Not so in the Gauntlet mode that was added as a free update to the game back in 2020, which dispensed with the open world and offered 3 Gauntlets of Strength, which were essentially multiple boss fights in sequence. This boss rush mode was designed for expert players who had conquered the main game, and each allowed you to face off against a hand-picked selection of the game's bosses in a specific order, with some of their behaviours and attack patterns modified for an extra challenge. sort of like a series of set menus in a restaurant if your dinner was trying to kill you. Each gauntlet completed rewarded you with either a new combat art or, better yet, a new outfit, making them well worth attempting if you had the skills. Beat all 3 gauntlets, however, and you'll unlock a final one called Mortal Journey, which is no longer a set menu, but the whole dang a la carte. This final boss rush contained every single boss in the game. Just imagine the outfit you'll get for that. And then keep imagining it, because as commenter Vindicare9915 points out, in Sekiro, if you beat all 3 regular boss rush gauntlets, you unlock a 4th, which contains every boss in the game. Beat that, and you get literally nothing. Literally nothing, not even a dessert. What kind of restaurant is this?
Players have one main mission in Animal Crossing New Horizons, paying off a large mortgage to a tanuki. But other than reimbursing a raccoon, there are plenty of things you can do on your island, such as making it beautiful enough that you'll get a full-on weekly concert from the biggest pup in pop. It's sort of the equivalent of if you did some gardening and Taylor Swift just turned up to do a concert every Friday from then on. Another thing you can do is fill out the halls of your beautiful island museum. But should you do this, the reward isn't quite KK Slider levels, as commenters including Bella Meyer found out. What did I get for completing the fossil collection for Animal Crossing New Horizons' museum? A poster, added in a later update, and a thanks from Blathers. Cool. No, I don't want a golden shovel recipe or anything useful. That's great, Blathers. That's right. Sure, it takes literal months to complete this collection as you dig up the daily fossils on your island and any that you find on your travels with Dodo Airlines and donate them all to Blathers' museum for free, but all you get as thanks is a single poster. No useful items or recipes, just a poster. One that was only added in an update, presumably after the first player who completed their collection went, "What the hell?" This is my worst piece of home decor since I bought that fake Mona Lisa from Red. Look, it's very dark on that boat.
The lengths to which I will go to acquire a hat is exactly the distance between me and the nearest lids. About half a mile that way. So a hat would have to be pretty damn special if it were the reward for a long and convoluted 6-part side quest in which a fancy Old West milliner sent me schlepping across Red Dead Redemption 2's famously expansive game world to collect a bunch of bird feathers.
I need at least 15 egret plumes, good ones, obviously. Also need 15 assorted orchids. Here's a list.
Okay.
Algernon Wasp there, a hat maker with a taste for rare and exotic materials, dispatches Arthur Morgan to collect, by our count, a total of 65 feathers from various bird species, each one more elusive than the last. It's like that bit in Assassin's Creed 2 all over again, which is to say, very annoying. Wasp also needs you, over the course of your toing and froing to his Saint-Denis store with pockets full of bird bits, to acquire and deliver 92 precious orchids, which, Algernon, I'm dying of tuberculosis here, my man. This seems like a terrible use of my last days on Earth. On top of those prized plants, Wasp wants 25 honest-to-goodness genuine gator eggs stolen from the nests of honest-to-goodness genuine alligators. I don't know or much care if he's putting them on hats or making gator omelettes, but I do know wading through all this dank swampland can't be good for my diseased lungs. My doctor told me not to breathe damp air or get savaged by gators, and yet here we are. When you've harvested all the stuff on Algernon Wasp's weird shopping list and returned to his workshop for the final time, it turns out Wasp's Contessa girlfriend has married someone else, so he no longer needs to impress her with his collection of big eggs, or whatever the plan was.
She left me for a postman. She married a postman.
So it was all for nothing, except not quite nothing, because you do get a pistol, which is basically fine, and some cash, which you probably have plenty of at this point in the game, and what's this? A hat with a feather in it.
Pretend to like it, I couldn't have another rejection, not now.
Oh, it's great. I love it. In a game full of excellent hats, this so-called exotic hat is nothing to write home about, even if you have people at home who are interested in hats, and far from the kind of reward you'd expect of a posh milliner who got you chomped by several deadly alligators. As commenter Mr. M. Binder puts it, wading through swamps, fighting off alligators, hunting various birds, etc., all for a hat with a couple of feathers. Oh, I'm sorry, 2 feathers, is it? Ezio got a cape.
May the 10 be with them. Here, this belonged to one of the fallen. He left no family behind, but I know he'd be honored for a true soldier to have it.
Thank you. I'll make sure to take good care of it.
Occasionally, games give you crappy rewards for completing a whole game, let alone one quest, as pointed out by commenter Spectre Rider. This doesn't count, but it is worth mentioning, to me anyways. After completing Horizon Zero Dawn on the hardest difficulty, you get face paint for Aloy. I love the game, but the reward for all those hours? Face paint. Have no fear, Spectre Rider, because while your suggestion, by your own admission, doesn't count for this specific list, it helpfully reminded me of a terrible quest reward in its sequel, Horizon Forbidden West.
What can I do for you, Aloy?
See, all suggestions are welcome, unless we literally already covered it in a previous video on the same subject, or occasionally the very same video the comment is on.
Ellen, be nice to the commenters.
Okay, fine. In the sequel, Aloy meets and befriends the Tanakh tribe, who have split in two, with rebels setting up multiple outposts around the Forbidden West.
Must be the leader of this outpost. They seem to have the best gear.
Each rebel outpost leader is carrying a set of dog tags from a non-rebel Tanakh soldier they killed, or the keys to a chest where they've squirreled those tags away.
Tags from fallen soldiers. I should get these back to Duca.
Duca, a non-rebel merchant hanging out in the Tanakh capital, wants you to get those tags back, which basically involves killing every single outpost leader in the land. This is no mean feat, as there are 17 outposts you have to lug yourself over to and infiltrate.
Let's check this one with tags.
17 outposts? What is this, a Ubisoft game? While you may start off clearing out entire camps to get to each leader, by the 6th or 7th outpost, all you'll want to do is go full stealth, sneak in, kill the leader, and then f*** off to the more exciting bits of the game.
Oh, this one's got some of those tags I keep finding.
But when you hand in the final tags, your hard work is rewarded with some gold ingots and machine circulators, crafting items that you'll only ever see in a menu and you can easily get elsewhere in the game. At least you could see the face paint.
You must have cleared every outpost in the wilds. Looks like we have the enemy on the run.
Thanks for joining us for this video here on Outside Extra. I've been Jane, and thanks to Ellen for letting me on her channel once again. If you'd like to watch another video from Outside Extra, there's this one up here, which is about the 6 most disturbing trends in modern gaming. Number 6 will shock you. And then there's this video from Outside Xbox, which is where I mostly spend my time on YouTube. So check this one out also. Check them both out, and we'll see you next time on Outside Extra.